What's up, guys? How you doing? Welcome to Cigar Salute. I'm your host, Dan, and I'd like to thank you guys who took the time to watch Humidor Scores Volume 3, which dropped last weekend. You guys gave an overwhelmingly positive response to the feature, and I'm pleased to see that so many of you guys viewed it already. Okay, and I'm also pleased to see that so many of you guys dropped in on the comments section and gave your recommendations and suggestions and whatnot. I want you guys to know that I hear you loud and clear, and I am paying attention very much to the suggestions that you guys make to me. And somebody had said discussing frequently asked questions and responses to viewer emails more often. Okay, now I don't always announce it directly that something that facilitates me to cover a specific topic is due to a viewer email or suggestion, but that quite often is the case that somebody will email me a question, and if it's a good question or if it's something that I am getting asked a lot, then it's something that I always try to address on the channel. Okay, so I hear you guys loud and clear. All right, and in the spirit of that, today we are going to be discussing a cigar. We're going to be focusing on one line of cigars specifically today, and it's a cigar that I've been asked about from the time that this channel was conceived all the way up till today. From newcomers to experienced enthusiasts, I get asked about the cigar. People want to know where to get it, how to get it, determining authenticity. I get a lot of folks who are sending me photos of the bands and the cigars that they've obtained, and they want to know if it's authentic or not. And the cigar is one that generates a lot of polarizing opinions and controversy, and it is probably one of the most, definitely within the top 3 most counterfeited cigars today, I would say. And you see way more counterfeits than you do authentic examples on the forums online, depending on where you go. All right, and if you haven't figured it out by the box up here, it is the Cohiba BHK line that I am referring to right now. All right, you can see I have the outer cardboard shell to a box of Cohiba BHK 52s that I own, and also these are the 3 Cigar Salute t-shirts that are going to be mailed out to the gentleman who won the trivia contest during the Adobe episode. And underneath that is actually a shadow box that my girlfriend constructed for me for my 37th birthday, which took place last Thursday. Okay, so I thought that this week, since I have an unexpected day off, that it would be a fun thing for me to do a tasting on this April 2013 Cohiba Behike BHK 52 factory code and box date. BTO was the El Laguito code at the time, and it is from April of 2013. It is one of the first Cuban cigars that I ever ordered online. It came from a Canadian site called CanadianCigar.com. I purchased it in March of 2014 for about 56 USD, which back then was actually a lot of money, but today that would be considered a bargain. Okay, at the time, the cigar was not nearly as difficult to procure in singles or boxes, and boxes were going for about a third of the price of what they are going for today. All right, very difficult to locate a box today, or even more difficult to locate singles. And we're going to cover the cigar and the line of cigars. We're going to talk about its origins. We're going to talk about noteworthy events in its short history in the Habanos SA catalog, and we are going to discuss how to identify authentic BHK examples and common counterfeiting errors to look out for. Okay, I know I said I was going to be moving away from some of that stuff, But something that facilitated me to cover this topic, especially this week, is that about 2 or 3 weeks ago, actually the guy who maintains Cuban Cigar website, which if you're not aware, Cuban Cigar website is the most comprehensive website online today in regards to Cuban cigar information. It is a very, very thorough database where you can go to learn the history of the marcas, discontinued vitolas and current vitolas, photos of the authentic bands and what they look like, photos that document the changes that the bands have gone through. Okay, and this gentleman from Cuban Cigar website, he had actually made a post on the Friends of Habanos forum a couple weeks back, and he has actually uncovered a security feature in the bands that nobody seemed to be aware of, including myself. All right, and I'm not talking about alphanumerical codes. I'm not talking about different colored squares under a black light. This is something even more far out, guys, and it's something that's been present in the Linea Classica, Maduro, and BHK bands for many years now. Okay, as far as the BHK line goes, this feature has been present since the 2013 band change that took place, where the security holograms were switched out. Okay, and I'm going to show that to you guys later on in this feature. But for now, we are going to get into it, and I am going to be lighting a BTO April 2013 Cohiba Behike BHK 52. I hope you guys will join me, and we are going to discuss the cigar and my thoughts on it. And I'm very excited about this because the last time I had smoked one of these 2013s was for my 34th birthday in October of 2017. So in October of 2020, as one last hurrah for my 37th birthday and the special smoking that I like to do surrounding that time, let's get into it, guys. We'll be right back. Hey guys, welcome. So I am really excited to get into this feature today. All right, this is a cigar that I get asked more questions about than any other single cigar. Folks, from the first time they contact me all the way up to folks that have been smoking for years and have not had the opportunity to try one, they are asking me how to go about obtaining one, and it is a cigar that has generated so many polarizing opinions, and there's so much hype and mythos surrounding this cigar. I am very pleased to dive into some of that lore and dispel some of the myths, and to have you guys with me on a tasting, because I am not very experienced with the cigar in regards to tasting myself. Okay, I have only smoked one Cohiba Behike prior to this, and that was like I said in the first chapter, for my 34th birthday just over 3 years ago. Okay, I have a October 2018 box which I purchased about a year and a half ago, but I haven't bitten into it yet just because I'm waiting for it to get a little more age on it and whatnot. But there is quite a bit of information that I have about this cigar. We're going to talk about the origins of the line. We're going to talk about the current status of the cigar. We're going to talk about my personal history with the cigar, how I came to be aware of it, and what my impressions were upon learning about it, and some of the things that I have witnessed take place in the cigar community surrounding the cigar. You guys may remember that have been with me for a while. You guys may remember around Thanksgiving 2017, I dropped a feature in regards to counterfeit BHK 52s that were going around, and I'm going to discuss that whole fiasco. And I think that's especially appropriate given that I am currently an administrator on the Cuban Cigar Facebook club that was involved with this scandal. And our club rose from the ashes of that incident, and today we have probably the most stringent rules of any of the Facebook Cuban cigar clubs in regards to vouching or verifying provenance of the cigars posted. And for a long time, we didn't even allow Cohiba Behikes to be put up for sale in the club or anything. Not that they go up for sale very often to begin with, but we'll get into that in a little bit. So without further ado, we are going to get this thing cut and lit, and we are going to discuss the initial impressions of the cigar and whatnot. And I'm going to do this in a similar fashion to how I did it on the Adobe video last month. Like I said, I am not going to, especially for a Cohiba Behike, I'm not going to sit here and have a camera pointed at me the entire time. It's just not going to happen. This is a very special moment for me as well, because this is a cigar that I do not smoke often at all, as you guys have heard. And it's going to be a real treat for me today. And considering the kind of week that I've had recently, I could really use it, okay? I am the kind of person that cigar smoking is far more to me than just something enjoyable that I like to do. Cigar smoking for me is a very therapeutic and cathartic experience. It has benefited my life to an extent that is very difficult to put into words. When I am enjoying a cigar, it is me designating 1 to 3 hours for myself. No distractions, no television, no phone calls. Just me, myself, and I in total relaxation, and it forces me to slow down. And when I have an enjoyable cigar, or a cigar that is just so rich and complex, and it has me captivated, that it brings me to a level of pleasure that few other things in life can bring me. Okay, so I'm not saying that this cigar is guaranteed to do that, but given the fact that I have been nursing this particular cigar for well over 6 years now, it's going to be a very interesting occasion for me, and I am very eager to share it with you guys, at least a little bit, you know. So I'll be checking in with you guys 3 or 4 times throughout the smoke, or if there's any interesting transitions and whatnot. And I am very eager now, with much more experience with the Cohiba Marca in general, versus the last time that I had smoked one of these, because I'll tell you right now that I still have vivid memories of the 2017 experience that I had with the other April 2013 Behike that I had purchased, okay? And that was a phenomenal cigar. I still remember it was rich with coffee notes, and the addition of the famed Medio Tiempo leaf that is supposed to set the cigar apart from other Cohibas. The difference was very obvious, and this cigar has a aroma that is very unlike other Cuban Cohibas, okay? It is unmistakably Cuban tobacco, but it just has a more pungent aroma than your average Cohiba, and it's just a beautiful cigar. I mean, and 7.5 years of age, there's a beautiful sheen on the wrapper, and it's slightly mottled in appearance, but you can just tell it's a very high quality leaf wrapping the cigar. The veins are very thin and fine and few. Okay, the oils coming off the wrapper are plentiful, and the construction feels firm and exquisitely built. And it looks, just by peering at the filler over here, it appears to be very well bunched, and it looks like the draw is going to be more than adequate. Okay, it looks like it's going to have an excellent draw. And tonight I'm going to be using a Cohiba V cut. Okay, I recently purchased one of these Cohiba V cutters after using a coworker's a few times a while back. Usually they're priced a little higher than what I would like to spend on a cigar accessory, but I got it on sale on Amazon, and I got a great deal on it. And I have to say that the V-cut, which is something that I never really gravitated towards in the past, the V-cut has increased, it has enhanced the draw of the cigars that I've been smoking substantially compared to a straight cut, and it is now my preferred cutting method of choice these days. And I am eager to get this thing lit up. So without further ado, let's cut and light, and we will be right back. I'm back, guys. So without further ado, we're going to get this thing cut and lit. Okay, like I said, we're going to be using Cohiba V cut. And I highly recommend this cutter if you guys don't already have one. If you're not sold on V-cuts, I promise you, check out if you have any friends or if you see somebody at the lounge using one, just ask to try it and give it a whirl. Because I'm telling you right now that this thing has enhanced the quality of the draws that I get, to the point, especially if you use it in conjunction with the perfect draw. If you have a tight roll on a cigar, and it's not due overwhelmingly to over-humidification and whatnot, then I highly recommend that combination, okay? Over-humidification is almost always, I find, the biggest culprit for draw issues. So if you cut the cigar and you take a pre-draw and a cold draw, then if you're not getting good airflow and a quick douching with the perfect draw isn't doing the trick, then I would highly recommend that don't even bother lighting the cigar. Place it to be dry boxed for a couple of days, and especially once you have the head of the cigar cut, the dry boxing process will almost always clear up any draw issues you have without further frustrations. Okay, so we're gonna get this thing cut right now, and we're gonna get it lit, and I am very excited, and I'm also a little sad because that pigtail's gone. It is such a beautiful cigar. It's almost painful to light it, you know. And I've been hanging on to it for so long and admiring this thing in my humidor. If I did not have a full box of 10 sitting in my winador right now, I would be very hesitant to light this up. But they are made to be smoked, and I am not an individual who just collects unicorn cigars just because. I watched somebody's humidor tour video the other day, and he had so many prestige cigars in his collection, but they were all full boxes, and he had it's not like he had the full boxes and then he had, you know, a singles drawer filled with singles of those same cigars that he had in boxes and cabinets. He was like, you know, he was almost like he was buying them as an investment, which, more power to you, but I've never really been about that. I've always believed that cigars are made to be smoked, and it is kind of frustrating to me when I see guys hanging on to unicorns, and especially when they buy 5 or 10 boxes of these very difficult to obtain prestige cigars, because there's so many people out there that would like the opportunity to try them. And this particular cigar has definitely been a victim of that. It's seen as a status symbol to some. Cigars like this, and a lot of the double-banded cigars, the Reservas, the regional editions, the Limitadas, okay? And, I see people all the time, they're using these things as an investment. And I recently, just this past weekend, have been dealing with the flipping aspect of how folks get with some rare cigars, even ones that were not released that long ago. Okay, so let's check out the cold draw on this BHK 52. Perfect. Very, very wide open draw. The cigar has been stored at 66% relative humidity in my winador, where it has remained for over half a decade. And it is drawing absolutely perfectly. It feels absolutely perfect. When you give it a little squeeze, it has just the right amount of give. There's no cracking sound or anything like that that would indicate that's too dry. But it also doesn't feel overly heavy like it's been over-humidified. Because I'll say that not only does over-humidification cause issues with the draw, but over-humidification can also dampen the flavors of a cigar. Okay, it's really important to keep a consistent level of humidification going to a cigar, because over time, fluctuations going too far down, going too far up, that can take a toll on a cigar. They're more resilient than we give them credit for, but they are still fragile organic objects. Okay, guys, so keep that in mind. And we are going to be starting off the light with this little double flame torch, just because it's such a large ring gauge. And then once I have the bulk of the cigar lit, I'm going to probably move over and sear the edges with my Zippo with the butane insert, because it's the single flame is much more precise. I always prefer single flame just because it's so much more accurate and precise. But a double flame torch just gets the job done so much more efficiently and quicker. And it allows me not to have to heat the cigar up too much right off the bat. Okay, because that's another thing. I notice that a lot of guys, cigars that take me an hour and a half to smoke, some of you guys will finish them in 40 minutes. And to each their own, do what makes you happy. But let me just suggest that you try slowing it up just a little bit, 1 to 2 draws a minute. And you may find that the flavors that you get from smoking slower are much more pleasant, because you are burning the cigar at a cooler temperature than if you had been puffing away at a more hasty pace. Okay? So let's get this lit, and my apologies if the microphone makes this sound like a F-14 Tomcat is taking off behind me. Oh yeah, we're toasting, and this thing is toasting right up. This thing was ripe to be lit. There we go, beautiful. Little bit more. And that should be good. A little purge. Needs a little more. Smooth retrohale. Finished it off with the single flame. All right, so right off the bat, we have deep, rich, and elegant Cohiba flavors of coffee, and we have a little bit of earth in the background, and we're going to get a couple more draws in, and let's see what we get here. A little bit of floral notes, and the coffee continues, a little bit of vanilla, a little bit more of that earth, and the cigar is generating a considerable amount of smoke. I might just open it up a little bit with the Perfect Draw just to get just a little bit more out of it. The burn is very even. There's a couple little uneven spots over here, but I am not a person who generally makes a big deal out of a slightly uneven burn. I notice guys sometimes they deduct, like, you know, if they have like a little rating system for how they rate cigars. I noticed that some guys, they really punish a cigar in a rating because it didn't burn perfectly even the whole time. And I noticed that a lot with guys who smoke a lot of American market cigars. And for me personally, if the fucking thing draws, if it smokes well, then who cares? You know, as long as it's not canoeing like crazy, then what difference does it make if it's perfectly even? That's like, you know, I got folks that get annoyed when there's visible veins in wrappers and whatnot, and you know, that's just pure aesthetics. You know, and they're like, oh, well, I want it the way it looks on the ad. I'm like, you don't think that that's Photoshopped to some degree? You know? So, let me, I have the Perfect Draw in my hand right now, and we are just going to place that in the center of the filler. Okay, and we are going to twist gently and slowly, straight in. It's very important to hold it straight because this thing can go askew very easily, and you can wind up actually popping a hole through the wrapper coming out the sides. This thing can dovetail so easily. And the trick is with the Perfect Draw not to go in too deep, and also to twist on the way in. And a big mistake that a lot of folks make with this tool is that they twist on the way out, and that diminishes the effectiveness of the tool by a considerable margin. Okay, now watch when I pull. I know it's probably difficult to see from here. Let me just move this so the ashtray's right under it, so I don't have bits of tobacco over the floor and I don't get murdered by my girlfriend, who was kind enough to do the vacuuming around here. But I have the tool in the cigar, okay, and as you saw, I twisted it while pushing in. I didn't go in too far. I went in probably to where the center of the band is, and usually I just go to the top of the band, but I went a little further because I felt a little hard spot, and I'm going to pull straight out. I am not going to twist, all right? So I am pulling straight out, and I just pulled a what looked like a piece of tobacco that was obstructing in the center. Okay, and that happens sometimes. You get and one thing I want you guys to keep in mind is that try not to plunge the Perfect Draw too deep into the cigar, because it is pulling the Ligero trimmings out of the center of the blend to some extent, okay? And you don't want to pull the entire Ligero out of the cigar, because that is going to alter the way that the cigar is meant to taste. So let's see how that draws right now. Oh, hell yeah. That opened it right up. And right away, we got a bit of a brighter flavor than we had a moment ago. And one thing also that I noticed that really can alter the flavor of a cigar is stems, aka veins. Sometimes if there's a prominent vein that's obstructing the draw to some degree, if you can extract that vein from the filler, oftentimes they are located towards the side of the cigar, on the underside of the wrapper. If you can gently remove that vein, it will open up the draw of the cigar considerably and loosen up the draw of the cigar considerably. Just be careful that you don't open it up too much, because then it'll be burning too hot and too quickly. Okay, but I think this little opening by the perfect draw brought us right where we need to be, and the age in this cigar is showing in the smoothness. Okay, there's a considerable amount of power here, but it is not overwhelming, and it is smooth on the tongue. The palate feels clean upon retrohaling, and also the smoke that I sent through my mouth on the exhale, my palate just feels clean and refreshed afterwards, which is always something that I notice in a Cohiba cigar. Okay, and I personally think that's due to the third barrel fermentation that the Lejero and Seco primings get, and the wrapper of the cigar is just a beautiful color, and I can't get over it. It's just I'm a little sad that it's not going to be in my humidor anymore, but again, I have 10 more gorgeous examples in a box from October of 2018, and I'm actually going to be showing you guys that box after I finish smoking this thing, and we are going to go over how an authentic box of Cohiba BHK 52s look, and I'm going to check back with you guys in about a third of the way into the cigar, and we're going to talk about how the first third went, and we'll be right back. Okay, guys? What's up, guys? Welcome back. So we are roughly a third into our cigar right now, and this cigar has amped up considerably in strength once we broke close to the second third mark. Okay, and the flavors seem just a bit muted at first, and I noticed that with cigars that have a bit of age on them, is that they don't have the initial punch that I enjoy in younger cigars. To me, the sweet spot that I prefer most cigars at is between 1 and 4 years old. Okay, and the reason I prefer that is because everyone is looking for something different in their cigar experience, and I have a lot of viewers who prefer their cigars to have a considerable amount of age on them, but me personally, I like the bite, that extra bit of bite, and that extra intense flavor that comes with younger cigars. Now, I'm not talking about young to the point where there's rough edges that cause the cigar to be overly tannic or anything like that, and I'm definitely not talking about cigars in the sick period. The sick period is really kind of, at this point, I don't want to say a thing of the past, but by the time you're getting a box, most of the time, the cigars have, even if they're relatively young, most of the time, a vendor will send you a box of cigars with minimum 5-6 months age on it. And by the time, you let them rest for a little while after you receive them, by the time a cigar has, 7 to 8 months of time on it from the box date, generally, it's safe to say most of the time that the sick period is no more. Cigars these days are smoking extremely well, young, and I've had some amazing cigars with less than a year of age on them in 2020. Okay, one of the probably in the top 3 cigars, definitely in the top 3 cigars, that I've had this year was a May 2019 Cohiba Siglo 4, which I enjoyed in March or April. So under a year of age, and this thing was just singing to me. All right. So back to the task at hand. This Cohiba Behike 52, really, really deep notes of earth and leather and coffee. Okay. And the strength has intensified considerably from the beginning of the cigar, and the smoke has an extremely buttery mouthfeel to it. There's just a like an extra like layer of creaminess to the smoke that I don't get with other Cohibas typically, and I find the Linea Classica to be very indulgent and elegant. I had actually smoked a 2017 Cohiba Panatella last night, and it's amazing that even these small Vitola Cohibas are able to deliver this deep, rich elegance. And this cigar takes that elegance and that richness and amplifies it a notch. And the large ring gauge, no doubt, probably contributes to that. Okay, 52 is a considerable ring gauge for a Cuban cigar. And while I have not experienced the thicker Vitolas of this line at this time, and I really don't have much of a desire to. Not that I consider Cigar Aficionado to be the Bible or anything, but the general consensus is that the 52 and the 54 are the ones that are worth your attention and worth the time. The 56 is not only the most expensive, but Ajay Patel and Gordon Mott and David Savona have stated in the past that on the BHK 56, you're just not getting as much bang for the buck because the medio tiempo primings that are included in this blend are not present in the first 2 inches of the cigar. Whereas the 52 and the 54, the medio tiempo is supposed to run the entire length of the blend. Okay? So I just got a nice dose of floral, herbal kind of notes, almost like a tea, and that's something that was missing from the equation initially. Was that Cuban floral note that I really love, and it's something that I find inimitable. I do detect some floral notes in some Dominican cigars. I smoked an Ashton Cabinet Selection last weekend, and I enjoyed it considerably more than I enjoyed the Attaby. If you want an elegant American market cigar, the Ashton Cabinet Selection, what a fantastic cigar! Probably going to grab some more of those in the near future, but. This Cohiba Behike is an excellent cigar, and I'm going to say right now that I probably enjoyed the one I had in 2017 more than I'm enjoying this, but this is an excellent cigar nonetheless. Oh man, it's just it's hitting so many stations of the cross at once, and it's very, very impressive. Is it worth $100+ for the money? I mean, if you can get a single or two just to experience it, sure. But if you are still building a collection and you haven't experienced a whole lot of Cohiba yet, and you haven't experienced a whole lot of the Habanos SA catalog yet, I would say there's a lot of other things I would chase before I chase this. And let's get into it while we have some cigar. We're going to talk about right now, how did I become aware of the Cohiba Behike? So I became enamored with cigar smoking in the fall of the late summer, early fall of 2011. Okay, and when I got into cigar smoking to the point where I was keeping a stock of cigars on hand and visiting tobacconists regularly, at this time, Cigar Aficionado's reigning cigar of the year was the Cohiba Behike. Okay, the BHK 52 at that time was the 2010 cigar of the year, and you got to remember that Cigar Aficionado, they do their top 25 in December every year. So for the first couple of months that I was really starting to learn about the marcas and starting to learn about different cigars and everything like that. And this is years before I had even procured a Cuban cigar. But Cigar Aficionado on YouTube has a video of them doing a unboxing and tasting for the top 25 of the BHK 52. And when I saw that box that the cigar comes in, and I saw the band and everything, it was such an elegant and beautiful presentation. I mean, of course, it's going to capture your attention. There's just, people say that the packaging doesn't matter, the band doesn't matter, but bullshit. Okay, this thing was, it was just in a class of its own when it came out, and it caught everybody's attention. And the cigar back then was a lot more obtainable, and it was a lot more within reach. Back then, a box of 10 could be had for, I believe it was roughly $350 or so, give or take, and even cheaper in Cuba. And back then, one could go down to Cuba if you could get there, because I believe this is before Obama loosened the restrictions, and I think that's partly what facilitated the shortage of Behikes in the past. But back then, you could get a box of 10 Cohiba Behikes for $200 and change, I believe, and singles were obtainable on most vendor websites, and they could be had for under $50. Okay, and I remember the only vendor I was really aware of at this time was Puro Express, and they had them in stock back then. And I didn't make my first purchase from an online Cuban cigar vendor until very early 2014. And this cigar was one of a lot. I bought two of these that were part of a lot for my second order, and I bought them from CanadianCigar.com, and I paid through the nose for those cigars, and I was very fortunate that around this time I became acquainted with a YouTuber that you guys have heard me speak about extensively, Dr. Joe, and thankfully Dr. Joe pointed me to much more affordable sources than Canadian sources. That floral through the nose on the retrohale is just beautiful, and it's not as bright as the Siglo series floral notes that you'll get, but in contrast with the deep leathery earth that you get from this particular blend, it is just a nice contrast. It's a very, very well balanced blend. I'm surprised that there's not a little bit more sweetness to it, but the cigar is far from tannic or anything like that. It is far from a one-trick pony, and it's very impressive. And the burn is getting a little wonky here, but the ash stayed on for about 1.5 inches before it fell. And right now I have an ash going that's about 3/4 of an inch to an inch long in some spots. Spoke too soon. But that was actually, there was a lot of brightness in that last draw there. And we're about halfway through the smoke now. Okay. And so continuing on, from the time I saw this video on Cigar Aficionado in regards to the Cohiba Behike, I knew that I wanted one day, and when I had the chance, I purchased 2 singles. And I wish I had gotten a box back then. I wish I had sprung for a box back then. Back then, I wasn't big into buying boxes because my thought was that rather than invest in boxes. I liked one thing that I've always enjoyed about cigar smoking and collecting, Cuban or otherwise, is variety. Okay, I wanted to taste every Cuban marca. I wanted to taste all the legendary vitolas that are praised in cigar forums and publications for time immemorial. Like the Monte 2, the Short Churchill by Romeo and Julieta, the Partagas Serie D number 4, the Bolivar Belicosos Finos. These are all cigars that I went out of my way to procure. The Trinidad Fundadores. The first year I began collecting Cubans, these are cigars that I went out of my way to procure, and I'm very glad that I got that good foundation, because later on this would direct me into where I wanted to go, and cigars that interested me. Okay, and this is something that I always try to impart upon you guys. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about, for those of you who are interested in obtaining Cohiba Behike in 2020. All right, so I've actually had a couple of viewers go sour on me because of issues that have arose from them trying to procure this cigar. Okay, I had a guy probably around the time I dropped the Finest Cuban Cigars Fakes video about a year and a half ago. This gentleman, he had been obsessed with trying to get his hands on Cohiba Behikes, and I explained to them how difficult it is to find singles. The only vendor that you're going to find Behike singles at, there's two that occasionally get them, and that would be Monte Fortuna out of Spain, I believe, and EGM Cigars out of Switzerland. And those two merchants are the only ones that you might be able to find singles at these days, and they come and go sporadically. Obviously, the demand is very high, and a lot of that, I think, has to do with the hype that surrounds this cigar, because if you go into American market cigar-centric forums, one Cuban cigar that everyone seems to be curious about is this one. And this is on a lot of guys' wish list. And I always tell people that singles and this cigar don't mix very well, and it is really it's a risky proposition, especially if you're buying it on the secondhand market, especially if you're buying it from somebody who's not immersed in the Cuban cigar scene. The counterfeits for this cigar, there's a lot of different varying levels, and I'm going to get into that in a little while, but the best way to get your hands on authentic Cohiba Behike is to buy a box. Okay, now if you don't want to spring the for the coin that this cigar commands by the box, my suggestion to you is box splits. Okay, I've discussed this before, but that is a surefire way to get your hands on a couple of singles without the issues that arise from trying to just procure a single or two. Okay, find 2 or 3 guys that are interested in purchasing the cigar and do a box split with them. I don't think I Havanas and Cigars of Habanos have these in stock right now. I don't know when they're going to get them again. You may want to contact them and ask, but those are 2 vendors that get them in relatively often compared to other vendors, and that's one thing to watch out for also. Cigars of Habanos, they might get a couple of boxes in at a time every so often, and but they don't have an endless supply of Cohiba Behike. Be very wary of any vendor that has what seems to be stacks upon stacks of boxes of Behike, because that's not the way that they're distributed. Nobody gets a master case from a shipment from a distributor and finds 50 boxes of Cohiba Behike in there, 20 boxes of Cohiba Behike in there. They typically come in 2 to 3 boxes on a shipment, and they don't come in every shipment either. They come in sporadically, like I said, maybe a couple times a year. I guess it depends on the distributor and the merchant and their status. But a lot of times when these cigars come into an LCDH, they're already immediately spoken for, either by waitlist or, and you're not going to find these in Cuba, legitimate examples anyway. You're not going to find these in any La Casa del Habanos in Cuba. So those of you who are planning on going on a trip down to Cuba, just cross the cigar off your list, because it's at the point where the La Casa del Habanos, if they get these in, they are holding them in the back room. They'll never even make it to the floor. And the reason for that is that they have high-end clients who buy big and tip bigger. And you're just, you going down there being Joe Schmo, trying to find a box of Behike. Yeah, you and 10,000 other people. There's already some whale out there who has bought the loyalty of the management at the LCDHs in Cuba. And like I said, the boxes that do come in will not even see the floor. In fact, I heard one story where somebody mistakenly put out a box of Cohiba Behikes out to the floor, and they actually didn't sell it to the customer when he asked for it. They said, "Oh, this was a mistake. This is already reserved for somebody." Okay, there's just too much money surrounding this cigar for large volumes to be sold domestically in Cuba, since the cost for them is so much more. They make a much better profit exporting the cigar than they do selling it domestically. It's just very, very small volumes of the Behikes actually get sold in Cuba. Okay, so like I said, buying by the box and doing a box split with people you trust is the best way to get your hands on these. The counterfeit bans that are going around these days are much better than the ones going around a few years ago. And when we come back, I am going to get into a story about how the original iteration of my cigar club got involved with distributing high-end counterfeit Behikes. All right, so we're going to come back after I get down to the last third, and we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about the history of the Behike line and how it came to be and where it's at today. All right, guys, be right back. Hey guys, welcome back. So we are approaching our last third right now. Got a little bit of the second third left. The cigar continues to amp up in strength, and the second third was considerably more impressive to me than the first third. It right now to me tastes like the Linea Classica on steroids. The floral notes have crept in, and I'm very pleased to see that, because the floral notes that Cohiba exhibits are some of my favorite Cuban cigar flavors. And there is also a strong amount of earthiness, and there is a leather component that I don't typically get from Cohiba, which I'll attribute to the extra priming thrown into the blend. Now, some people have speculated that the Medio Tiempo is a scam. It's hype. The farmers refer to it as Fortaleza. And actually, Hiroshi Robena actually appeared on a Cuban Cigar Facebook club early this year. And he actually basically called the Behike sales and marketing hype. And Hiroshi Robena is a very polarizing figure in the Cuban cigar world. And apparently Habanos S.A. is not pleased with him due to him, not necessarily because he did an American market line of cigars, but because he used the band design, which is very, very, very basically identical to the Cuban Vegas Robena line of cigars, with one little addition of the letter H next to the R. But apparently Habanos S.A. asked him not to do that, and he went ahead and did it anyway. And I even heard rumors that that was the reason that they didn't do anything to commemorate Alejandro Robena's 100th birthday, what would have been his 100th birthday, I believe in 2019. Also, Hiroshi Robena is rumored to be involved in quite a bit of stuff. I can't really touch on it too much in video, but the man has some very, very controversial viewpoints in regards to some of the decisions that Habanos S.A. makes, and he openly stated in his own words and that Medio Tiempo itself is a marketing scam. I'll throw up screenshots of the posts that he made, because of course if I see the man write some shit like that, I'm going to screenshot it and share it with you guys. I hadn't really had a good time to bring it up until now. But let's get into the origins of the Cohiba Behike line and how it came to be. Okay, so the original Cohiba Behike was not the cigars that we know today, that are available today. Okay, the original Cohiba Behike was crafted to celebrate the 40th anniversary of the Cohiba Marca. Okay, so it was revealed March 3rd, 2006, all right, in Havana. And immediately it set a record price for a new release at about 15,000 euro, which at the time was 18,000 US dollars. All right. It came in LE Blue limited edition humidors containing 40 cigars, and there were only 100 of these humidors made. The cigar itself used the length similar to the Cohiba Lancero at 7.5 inches, and it used a ring gauge of the Siglo 6, which is 52, and it was all 4,000 of the original Cohiba Behike cigars. They were rolled by one individual, and her name is Norma Fernandez Sastre. Forgive me for butchering that. I'll put it up on the bottom of the screen just so you guys can see how it's spelled. I apologize if I butchered the last name. Okay. This is also the same person who rolled the 30th anniversary Double Robustos that came out in 1996 with that really, what I think is a very cool looking band, and there was a really nice looking jars that were made by Beta Soa out of Spain, and I don't even want to think about what those are going for now, but the original Cohiba Behike that was released in 2006, 7.5 by 52. They came double banded. Okay, there was a secondary band that had the word Behike on it, and it was numbered 1 to 4,000. So every cigar was individually numbered, and it was an ultra limited release. And the cost of a single cigar at that time could go for well above 400 US dollars. Today, I don't even want to think about how much one of these would cost to try and get, and I would not suggest you go trying to track one down. The original Cohiba Behike line, it was just that one cigar, and the bands didn't have any sort of security features that I'm aware of that any of the new stuff has. And it wouldn't be that difficult to fake one. And so unless you're absolutely sure of the provenance and you have quite a bit of money to drop on a single cigar, it would probably be best to avoid trying to go on that unicorn chase. Okay, you might have better luck finding something like the 1966, the Limitada from 2011. You could still track down some Robusto Supremos, the Limitada from 2014, and of course, there's still a shitload of talismans floating around. So if limited, and you could also find the Cohiba Robusto Reservas as singles from reliable sources. You're going to pay through the nose for it, and generally, guys, this is like, these are like celebration unicorns. Buying a box of these is just really impractical, in my opinion. I'm not sold on the hype, to be honest, and I'm not going to sit here and act like I have a lot of experience with these cigars, but if you talk to most experienced enthusiasts, they will tell you that aged regular production is the way to go for the most part. And those of you who are aware and have been paying attention to the site that was launched earlier this year, Bond Roberts, which if you're going to participate in a rare or vintage Cuban cigar auction site, that's the one that I would suggest you go to. I would avoid the Cigars website run by Mitchell Orchant out of England. I would avoid that site, and I would avoid doing business with them for various reasons. But Bond Roberts is showing what some people are willing to pay for even cigars that are, a week or two ago, I saw a 2017 box of El Rey del Mundo Schwa Supreme. Nothing special about it. Just it was from 2017, and it actually went in auction for over $600 USD. Okay, that's insane. All right. Apparently, there's a lot of people out there with more money than sense, but it's sad to see that this is what's becoming in the aged market. And 3 years is a drop in the fucking bucket compared to what some of us might have laying around in our collections. All right. And I wouldn't, I always tell guys that are starting to chase these aged cigars, if you're really, really committed to trying aged cigars and whatnot, buy a couple of singles from somebody you trust in a Cuban cigar club online. All right, you're much more likely to get a fair price than one of these auction sites. And those of you who have asked about why Cigars of Habanos' age section, the vintage section, disappeared, well, you can find those vintage section cigars. Ravi has been throwing them up sporadically on Bond Roberts, and he's fetching considerably more money per box than he was charging on COH's vintage section. Okay, and somebody in my cigar club recently wrote Ravi about this, and he says that the section won't be up again on the site for at least 3 more months. Some have speculated that's not coming back at all. I don't think that it'll disappear forever, but I do think that some of the more prestige or high value or well-aged cigars that are on that list, I think they'll wind up being sold on Bond Roberts instead. Okay, that's just, that's the nature of business, and if there's a market for it, people are going to exploit it. That's all there is to it. So anyways, back to the history of the Cohiba Behike. So we covered the original release, the unicorn that is the original Cohiba Behike from 2006, and the cigar went out. I'm sitting here yapping too much. Some have speculated, actually I don't even think it's speculation, I think I have read that Habanos SA directly stated this, that Habanos SA was actually a bit slighted, and they felt that it was inappropriate that the most expensive regular production cigar in the world at the time was not a Cuban cigar. It was the Fuente Opus X, and the Cubans wanted to craft a quote-unquote Opus X killer. Okay, so here you have, whereas the Fuente Opus X is a stronger cigar than the rest of the Fuente line, the Cohiba Behike is blended to be stronger than the rest of the Cohiba line. So it really is Cuba's answer to the Opus X. It is Cuba's version of the Opus X. And if you think about it, it bears a lot of similarity in the terms that it's almost universally acclaimed. It's universally loved or hated, and they are difficult to obtain and very expensive. So we've officially entered the last third, and I just got a nice blast of butterscotch on that relight. And I want to keep this from burning too hot. I know I'm going to wind up nubbing this thing, not only because I have more feature to go through, but because I definitely want to make sure this thing gets a proper send-off after spending nearly 7 years in my humidor. So it almost reminds me of a cross between a Cohiba and a Robena right now. Robena tobacco has a unique spiciness to it that I don't want it. And when I say spiced, I don't want you to think of Nicaragua spice. I want you to think of like Partagas spice, where there's almost like a sweet note to it, especially the butterscotch note I just spoke of. That's something that I find in the Partagas short. That's something that I find in some of the Robena cigars. And I recently had earlier this year, my man Brock, who just celebrated his birthday as well on the 19th. Happy birthday, Mr. Brocktober. He had sent me a custom roll from Cuba by a gentleman who goes by the name Papo, and he sent me a Papo BHK 54. I guess it's modeled after the size of the Behike 54, and holy shit, that was probably the strongest Cuban cigar I've ever smoked. It was definitely young, but I'll tell you, man, this thing was fucking delicious, but it was an absolute spice bomb. I mean, I had to stop and eat a candy bar halfway through the cigar to stop myself from getting overly buzzed on the nicotine. Okay? So, you got that butterscotch sweetness mixing up with earth, spice, leather. The creaminess of the smoke is intensified even more. The second half of this cigar has been supremely enjoyable, and wow, very, very, very good cigar. Like anything else that gets hyped up this much, the enjoyment is subjective, but for a special occasion cigar, this is very enjoyable. Okay, and I'm enjoying myself very much, and I hope you guys are enjoying hearing about the cigar. Okay, so the BHK series as we know it today was revealed in February of 2010 at the Habanos Festival in Cuba. All right, it was launched in London on Wednesday, May 12th, 2010 at the Goring Hotel. Okay, and the guests at this launch, they received a gift bag with the 2009 UK regional, the El Rey del Mundo Choix de la Pac, and also in this gift bag there was 2 Behike 52s, a 54 and a 56, with a cutter and matches, and there was a variety of spirits served at this event. And the hype surrounding the release of this cigar most definitely contributed to it selling out in world markets very quickly. Even the first year of release, initially there was a shortage of Behike in 2010, and cigars were already fetching up to $75 for a single in 2010. And the 2010 Cohiba Behike BHK 52, it received Cigar Aficionado's Cigar of the Year accolade, and they rated it at a score of 97, which, a cigar getting 95 or above is a very rare thing in Cigar Aficionado's rating system, and I personally don't put a ton of stock into the rating system at Cigar Aficionado, and I feel like in recent years they've really begun to shy away from praising Cuban tobacco the way that they used to. And I don't think that's because they dislike Cuban tobacco. I just think that there's so many other American market brands that they want to show attention to, and the relationships that they have could be impacted by neglecting these brands as opposed to praising Cuba. I personally think that they should have a Cuba top 25 and an American market top 25, and perhaps maybe do like a mixed top 10 together or something like that to be a little more fair. But then again, that's just me. If I find myself exploring more American market cigars in the future, perhaps I'll consider that. I'm definitely planning on doing a best cigars that I smoked in 2020 list, but we'll get back to that another time. So in 2011, I believe they rolled over 100,000 Cohiba Behikes. They were in adequate supply for a few years, and somewhere around 2015, the supply of Cohiba Behike dried up in world markets, and I believe that this coincides with the Obama and Cuba relations thaw that took place, I believe, starting in late 2014, where Americans were able to venture to Havana with much greater ease than in previous years, and the relations between Cuba and America were thawing considerably. And tourism to Cuba picked up considerably from Americans, and no longer did you have to go through Canada or Mexico and hop a flight to Cuba from one of those countries to get in as an American. Okay, and what happened at this point, Americans began going to Cuba and going down to La Casa del Hermanos while they're there. And American cigar enthusiasts, of course, they're going to pick up the cigar that's super expensive in world markets, that fetches, $300 to $500. At this time in 2015, Cohiba Behike 52s were already fetching for $500 or $600 for a box. So if you could pick it up for $2 and change in Cuba, then come back and you get 2 or 3 boxes and you flip a couple, make double your money or better. Then you've basically you've paid for a box for free and made money on top of that. So I believe that there was a lot of that going on because back then I remember seeing a lot of them for sale in the secondary market, and even when I got active on some of the Facebook groups in like early 2017, Behikes went up for sale relatively regularly compared to how they go now. You might see 1 or 2 boxes now go up every couple of months, and that's really that's not so much in my club. That's in other clubs, in another club in particular that has a lot of old heads from Europe and stuff, guys with consistent access to LCDHs and whatnot. But the sweetness in this last third is such a welcomed addition, and it has really just made this cigar so well-rounded. So this thing was building up, and by the time we come to the last third, we've really, really reached an apex with this particular cigar. So we're getting to 2015, 16, and that brings us to 2017. So they started to trickle out a bit in 2017 after a drought. And those of you who have been with the channel for a while may have heard me speak of 2015 and 16, and even the 2014 harvest. There were some rough years for Cuba's crops, and there was considerably less cigars rolled of certain Vitolas and Marcas and whatnot. And Behike is a line that is typically only rolled at El Laguito. I believe in 2010 or 11, some examples may have been rolled at the Partagas factory. They always have a El Laguito stamp, except for a couple of rare examples. Even if they are rolled at, let's say, the Partagas factory or maybe La Corona. I'm not 100% sure on the different factories they've been rolled at, but primarily they are rolled at El Laguito almost always, and they are always boxed at El Laguito as well. Okay, but in 2017, the first iteration of Cuban Exchange, which is the cigar club that I help administrate with my boy Anthony and Mike. The original Cuban Exchange was started by a gentleman named Dennis. And Dennis happened upon a connect, a gentleman named Christian, who owns a company called Remember Cuba Cigars. Okay? This gentleman, Christian, from Remember Cuba Cigars, approached Dennis and told Dennis that he could get him Cohiba Behike for a very reasonable price, and he had a consistent feed of them coming in. Dennis was an admin on a Facebook club called Havana Hideaway, and Dennis decided to create this Cuban Exchange group solely, initially, for him to sell cigars on. And these Behikes that he was in possession of, he started to sell quite a few of them through this forum. Okay, now this guy sold at least a couple of dozen boxes from the summer of 2017, and now I am going to Thanksgiving Day weekend, the Wednesday, Thanksgiving Eve of 2017. A very large scandal in the community erupted, and the online forums, the online Facebook clubs, they still haven't fully recovered from this in certain aspects in regards to Behike. But somebody called attention to the fact that this gentleman, Dennis, had posted multiple boxes of Cohiba Behikes up for sale, and they showed photos, different boxes, different sales that are over a month apart from each other with identical serial numbers, which obviously we know that that's not possible in a legitimate example. All right. So it turned out that this guy was purchasing boxes for about $450. He was selling them at $150 markup for $600 USD. And these Behikes that he was selling, they used Cuban tobacco. They used authentic bands. There was some errors in the packaging and whatnot, but they were not genuine Cohiba Behikes, and they were not made with the Habanos SA grade tobacco. They were not made with the same blend as a Cohiba Behike. But they were Cuban farm rolls dressed up as a Cohiba Behike. And this is why I always, especially with the Behike, I always tell you guys, source is everything. Security features are nice. They're really helpful for the most part. But when you have a high-end operation going like this, where you have a professional in the industry working with somebody in Cuba who is also very high in stature, and he is supplying high-quality farm rolls to pass off as counterfeit, to pass off as genuine Behikes, it's just the perfect storm, and it makes you know, a lot of people don't even try to procure Behikes unless they have an opportunity at an LCDH or something, or a very reliable, reputable retailer, because and I advise that you really scrutinize any sales that come across in the secondary market. And this exact reason is why my club, why our club, why we require a serial number and photos of the box. And when it comes to Behike specifically, we reserve the right to remove any sale that we any posting that we deem to be questionable, or if they can't provide source or provenance or anything like that. if it's not an individual that we know well or that we trust, we will take down that sales posting just because we want to avoid anybody ever getting burned. Box of Behikes a couple months ago from somebody else in a different Facebook club, and he had posted it in our group, and we immediately saw the font on the box code stamp and whatnot was off. It was a different font. Laguito uses a very specific font on their box codes, and it's very distinguishable from the fakes I've seen going around. And what I was saying before, the quality that went into these counterfeits that this gentleman Dennis was slinging a few years ago. I mean, they had transit seals. They had, you can go on Alibaba.com and you can buy Behike boxes from China for $16 a piece, and these assholes sell them as humidors, and they have the outer shell like this, and they have the lacquered box and everything, and the packaging looks great. They're selling it as a humidor, and that's how they get away with it. But this humidor happens to come with the graphic description card that comes with Cohiba Behike. It comes with the cedar insert, and it's just it comes with the velvet pouch and everything that the Behike comes with, and it's just disgusting. So somebody, they went through a lot of trouble to put together these high-end counterfeits, and the only way that they were caught was matching serial numbers. And I believe on some of these serial numbers, some of them I believe rang genuine, and others did not ring as Cohiba Behikes. But when it's an admin on a Facebook club that people, at this time, he was very popular in the community. People loved him. People trusted him. And, he claims that he had no knowledge that these cigars were counterfeit. He thought he was just a lucky guy who stumbled upon the plug of all plugs. But remember my rules that I had described to you early in the feature. Stay away from anybody who seems to have an endless supply of these rare and limited cigars. And limited is the key here, okay? These cigars go through sporadic production in very small batch numbers, okay? I don't know exactly how many are rolled per year, but they will not roll Behike if they don't have satisfactory materials to construct them, okay? It is meant to be a cigar that is only rolled with tobacco of a certain caliber and pedigree. So if they don't believe the harvest is good enough, they ain't going to roll it. And that's partially what happened in the 2015 era, when there was a drought of Behike, and they didn't appear again until sometime, I believe, in 2017. And the good news is that Behikes are being rolled today. There's no droughts in the last year or two that I'm aware of. There was, I'm seeing box dates all the way up till right now in like August 2020. There was fall 2019 dates that I saw, early 2019 dates that I saw, and I have mine is from later 2018. Okay, I believe that from the late 2017 period to maybe August 2018, there was no Behike rolled, or very little Behike rolled. I believe there was no Behike rolled until, again, from late 2017 to fall of 2018 or late summer 2018. Okay. The point is that they're not impossible to obtain. They're not. It's not like they're not being produced. It's just that they're produced in limited numbers, and you are going to have to probably pay a premium to get your hands on a box. All right. So, if you're not willing to work with the way that the market is right now in regards to Cohiba Behike, you are probably not going to get your hands on the cigars. And I know a lot of guys say to me that like they don't want to invest in a box without being able to try singles first. But I'm telling you right now that the best way to do that, box split with a couple of people, and you'll recoup a good portion of your money, and you'll have 2 or 3 cigars for yourself to try, and that'll stop you from bearing the burden of purchasing a full box. It's just that, you got to find a couple of guys that you trust, which shouldn't be that difficult if you're joined up in a Cuban cigar community and you're plugged into the network and you're plugged into the community. Okay, and this is partially the reason why I emphasize things like this so much, because it's very important when you're chasing rare and prestige cigars to establish relationships so you can get into situations where you can do a box split with somebody. You have people to do these kind of things with. Okay, expensive regionals or limitadas. It really, really, especially if you wind up not liking the cigars, it really, no one wants to spend almost $1,000 USD on a box of cigars that they're not even enjoying. Okay, I mean, I'm sure you could probably flip it right away, but do you really want to go through that kind of effort? So, I get a lot of guys that are asking me about Behikes available on Finest Cuban Cigars and whatnot, and I always tell people, whether they're genuine or not, that you probably shouldn't be buying it from there. There's just too, obviously we've already proven that they've sold counterfeit Behikes and other Cohibas in the past. I think maybe 1 or 2 of my viewers may have gotten lucky and gotten genuine examples from them, but by no means is that a green light, because these guys have photos on their Instagram of stacks of BHK boxes with the supply way bigger than any legitimate supplier should have. Okay? If other gray market retailers that are infinitely larger and do much higher volume than Finest Cuban Cigars have smaller stocks of Behike, then that should be telling you something. Okay? So just keep that in mind. And, I didn't think that at this point I'd still be asked questions about Finest Cuban Cigars, but it keeps coming up, and guys pop into the groups with Behikes that they got from Finest Cuban Cigars. And one way that we're going to be able to tell for sure or not, and again, just because the band is legitimate doesn't mean that the cigars are legitimate. Okay. So I had a vein poking out of the filler just now that I popped out. Just a bad habit that I participate in from time to time with cigars. But after I pulled that vein out, the drawer opened up even more, and the flavors got even more floral and sweet. The brightness that this thing is starting to exhibit in the last third. I'm definitely going to wind up nubbing this bad boy, and we're going to come back in a few minutes, just because I've been yapping for a while, and I want to get a drink, and I want to take a break from this thing for a couple of minutes. But we're going to come back probably when we get down to the nub, and we're going to come to our conclusion and whatnot. And after that, we are going to actually take a look at my 2018 box of BHK 52s, and I'm also going to be sharing some of my findings that myself and Mr. Post Alone, a friend and fellow YouTuber, I'm going to be sharing some findings that we recently discovered, based on what we saw on Friends of Habanos from the gentleman that maintains Cuban Cigar website. Okay? Be right back. Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back. So, I apologize, but I couldn't film the conclusion of the cigar because there's a construction crew outside my apartment building, and as I was finishing up the cigar, they started operating some loud equipment, and it just the microphone was picking up too much of it, and I'm just going to have to tell you guys that I nubbed that cigar till I couldn't nub it anymore, and the cigar had a delicious finale, and it was an absolute pleasure to smoke. Very happy that I chose today to smoke it, and even though I'm a bit sad to see it go, being that I have been hanging on to that cigar pretty much since I started collecting Cuban cigars. They are made to be smoked, and I'm not the kind of individual that buys prestige cigars just to hang on to them and have them look pretty in my humidor for the rest of my life. So the cigar burned for well over an hour, and it was a fantastic experience. It started off a little more muted than I would have liked, but that's to be expected for a cigar with 7 years of age on it. That it's going to be more mellow than a 4-year-old example, like the last time I smoked a BHK 52. Okay. As far as is it worth it? I mean, that's a very subjective term. I did not pay today's cost for that particular cigar. So is it worth it for what I paid for it? Absolutely. As far as a special occasion cigar, listen, as opposed to being curious about the cigar for the rest of your life, if you're really, really anxious to try it and you have an opportunity and you're very, very confident in the provenance of that particular cigar, then I would recommend you pick one up for yourself and give it a shot. But if, you're absolutely ambivalent about these cigars, or if you're skeptical about them, I don't think that any cigar is going to impress you enough at today's cost for what these cigars are going for. Okay, understand that the cost of the cigars today is not the MSRP of the cigar. The La Casa del Habano shops around the world, a box of BHK 52 probably goes for about between 500 and 600 euro, okay, which is a good chunk cheaper than what some of the gray market retailers are selling these boxes for. Okay, it's just that the demand and the limited supply, it's just the way things are. Things get marked up, similar to other limited run prestige cigars that are out today. So that was the Cohiba BHK 52, and we are going to actually move on over right now, and we're going to take a look, and I'm going to do a complete walkthrough of an authentic box of Behike 52s, and we are also going to discuss a recently discovered security feature. And I hadn't really wanted to talk about this on the channel, just for the fact that I wasn't really trying to broadcast it and get it out there. But since it's already been put out there on the Friends of Habanos forum, and this is how I found out about it, and since the person who revealed the information and made the discovery, the operator of a Cuban cigar website, who happens to share the attitude that I have, that anti-counterfeiting measures should be utilized, and they should be, the public should be aware of it. So I don't feel bad about sharing it with you guys. I just, I try not to make it I try not to make these things too accessible to people, and I also don't want to promote a culture where we are checking our cigars with black lights and now microscopes, and that's not the way to do it, guys. Purchasing from reputable sources and retailers and trusted individuals with a good word of mouth reputation on the secondary private market, that's the way to go. Okay. And again, I have to reiterate, just because the band looks good or just because the band hits every station of the cross with authentication features, the band can be as genuine as any band. But, that does not mean that somebody didn't just slip a genuine band onto a Cuban custom roll. And the length that these guys have gone in counterfeiting these cigars, the money is it's too good for people not to try. And so don't get overconfident just because your cigar band has all the features that it should have. Okay. Again, source is everything. So I think I've driven that point enough, and I think I've covered, counterfeiting and the importance of provenance enough on this channel. I'm not going to really beat that home too much anymore, but I just want to make you guys aware of it again. And for those individuals, because like I said, I've been getting emails about this one line of cigars for years now. And I've had guys, I had one guy threaten to beat me up because it would have been funny to see him try. But even so, this individual, he buys a fucking $800 box of cigars from a guy on Instagram who I had shown him a week prior that he had counterfeits right on his, broadcasted right on his page. And it's like, why would you buy the most counterfeited cigar in the world from a guy who is plainly in plain sight? He's selling counterfeits on his Instagram. So that little bit of logic pretty much made his head spin in a 360 and made a steam shoot out of his ears. And then I had another guy blame me for ruining his life because I recommended Cigars of Habanos to him. And for some reason, he had some kind of miscommunication with them, and he told me I was ruining people's lives. And then he wrote me a bunch of drunken apologetic emails, and I just stopped replying to it. Once you hit me with that kind of nonsense, I'm not going to bother with you anymore. There's too many people that have legitimate questions and concerns, and there's too many people that approach me like adults and conduct themselves like gentlemen or like proper ladies to waste time with people acting like children. Okay, so let's get to the conclusion of this feature, and I'll see you guys in a minute. Hey guys, all right, welcome back. So you guys have seen me walk through a genuine box from the Linea Classica. You guys have seen me walk through a genuine slide lid cabinet from the Siglo series. And since we are focusing specifically on the Behike line of cigars today, I am going to walk through a genuine box of Cohiba Behike BHK 52 with you guys, all right? So one thing you need to know right off the bat, these were purchased from Cigars of Habanos in May of 2019. and the box was sealed. All right, so this outer lid right here, this was sealed. The warranty seal was intact. There is a serial number under there. I put a little post-it over it just to block the serial number. I always try to, with prestige cigars like this, I always try to protect the serial number just to avoid a legitimate serial number from being broadcast all over the place. I know that they get splattered all over Reddit and Facebook, but I don't want to be like everybody else. So let's walk through the outer shell first. First off, on any cigar that comes with an outer shell, you are going to see the warranty seal on the outer shell only. Now, people ask, why aren't the warranty seals on the actual box as well? Well, that would mean that they would have to have duplicate serial numbers, or they'd have to have two different serial numbers for the same box of cigars, and that's just kind of redundant and ridiculous. Okay, the transit seal is under the warranty seal. You can see it poking out from there, and we have the DOP located in the upper right-hand corner. As always, we have in like a gold foil the Taino logo with the Cohiba Behike insignia, and then we have Habana, Cuba over here, and then we have on the sides more gold foiling over here, BHK 52, Havana, Cuba, and I believe we have the same on the other side. Okay, we look at the bottom of the cardboard shell. Okay, pay attention to that font right there. That is the Leguito font that you would want to see. This is an October 2018 box, and UAO is the appropriate code for El Leguito in this time period. El Leguito is now MAR in 2020, okay? But in October 2018, UAO is the code you would want to see, okay? The blue ink like this is also what you would want to see at this time period. But most importantly is the font, all right? We have the typical Habanos SA, and this is embossed in, okay? Hecho en Cuba, totalmente a mano, all right? So we have the warranty seal, which I slice this open for the first time, okay? Open it up. And we have a velvet bag with the Cohiba Behike insignia on it. And sometimes the Taino logo might be a little faded here, I guess, from friction against the top of the box. That is normal. You see that all the time. All right. And one thing to pay attention to, these velvet pouches, they have like the triangular scissor cut on the flap over here. All right. So we open that up. Okay, so we have our box right here, and this box is gorgeous. There's just no other way to say it. And real quick, let me just show you guys. I kept this just to demonstrate in the future. This plastic right here is very thick. Okay, this is like the kind of plastic that would coat your grandmother's furniture, or the kind that you would peel off the screen of a new cell phone or something. It's very thick. It's very durable. It's not plastic that would rip easy. You'd have to cut it with a scissor. But this plastic covers and it protects the lacquered finish on the outside of the box. Now, since I had no intention of flipping this box or selling it or anything like that, and the box is meant to be a display piece for my own cigars, I removed the plastic. A lot of guys choose to keep it on in case they want to sell the box in the future, but just be aware that this is something that they often fuck up with counterfeits. I've seen some of the counterfeit ones using wax paper. I've seen them using chintzy plastic, but this is like thick stuff. I don't know if you could tell by the video. But you can see that it's no joke. You know, I'm pulling on it. It's not, you know, very, very durable plastic. All right. Moving on, we have 7 rows on each side of squares. Okay. These squares are like a nice shade of white. And we have in, this is all very smooth to the touch. It's like a heavy piano lacquer. There shouldn't be any feeling of grain or anything on the outside here. And the lid is very heavy, okay? And it closes magnetically, all right? And it forms a nice seal. You can feel it almost, okay? And it's a very good seal. You can see that this box has considerable heft to it. And I'm holding it just by the top right now, and it's not going anywhere, okay? So looking at the bottom of the box has a softer velvet than even the bag, okay? And there's no box date on the bottom of this box. That's normal, okay? And then you have the same information. And this is pressed into the bottom, Habanos SA, Hecho en Cuba, Totalmente a Mano. Okay, so that's all the stuff we want to see. There's no DOP or any stickers that get applied directly to the box. I've seen those idiot fucking Canadians. No offense to anybody from Canada, but the Canadian government or whoever the fuck is responsible for it that puts health warning stickers directly on this box, they should be fucking shot. Okay? What a fucking disgrace. Jesus. All right, so let's open our box and get to the good stuff here. Okay, move this a little closer. We'll focus on the lid for a moment. My apologies. Okay, so this is almost like a vinyl sticker that's applied. All right, that's not burnt into the wood. All right, and these letters should be neat and concise and evenly spaced. And the wood should feel nice and smooth up here, all right? You shouldn't be having, like, really rough wood, and you shouldn't have burnt in or sloppy letters here. I know burnt in is what we usually want to see on a box of cigars, but not in this case. Those black letters are vinyl letters that are stuck there, okay? Moving on, we have the clasps over here on the lid. These hinges have the word Cohiba engraved in them right here. I will throw up a photo in the corner just so you guys can get a good look at it. Okay, it'd be a pain in the ass to manipulate the camera to go right over these right now since I have it mounted. All right, let me move this back a little bit. There we go. So we have a graphic Cohiba card with the Behike logo, and this is, again, smooth to the touch. It has a nice shine to it. The gold on the borders and everything, and the gold in the middle on the Behike logo, you can see it reflecting the light. All right, and it's a nice. It's almost like the same paper that you would use, that you would get when you used to buy CDs and the CD booklets. Okay, and then you have a description about the Cohiba Behike and everything like that, what the line is, what it's supposed to be. What it represents. Okay, we have our Habanos DOP and the rice paper and whatnot. It talks about the care of the cigars and everything. Okay, we have our cedar insert here, and this is burnt in. Okay, guys. So remember, lid not burnt in, insert burnt in. We have our wax paper here protecting the cigars, and that brings us to our illustrious beauties here. Okay, so we are going to pull one out real quick, but you can see that there's a little bit of space to let the cigars breathe a little bit, but not enough where they're bouncing all over the place. Okay, the box is very nicely presented and everything like that. You can see the cuts over here, the quality of the wood. This should all be very smooth to the touch. There should be no rough wood, okay? Occasionally, you might get a little bit of extra glue here and there in the inside, but otherwise, the box is an absolute pleasure to look at, and it's smooth to the touch. All right, so let me use my fancy Cigars of Habanos hammer, and I want to reiterate that these were purchased at the Cigars of Habanos. Okay, ever so gently pull one out. Okay, and we could see, since these are October 2018s, these have the new security hologram on them. The example that we smoked in the video actually has the old style band. Okay, and that brings me, that segues into my next point here. Actually, wait, before I get to that, let's just finish this out. Okay, so we have the current security hologram. We have everything that we want to see in this box. Gorgeous, gorgeous presentation of these cigars. From the first time I ever laid eyes on this box, I was enamored with this line of cigars. I think everybody was. They just, I think they just captivated everybody that saw them. And they're an absolute treasure to me in my collection. I'm very glad that I sprung for a box a while back. It sucks what the market has become for these cigars, but if you are somebody that loves Cohiba and enjoys Cohiba, if you're somebody that likes to chase the unicorns, then I hope that this feature is giving you the tools that you require to procure yourself an authentic box. And before we go, we are going to come back in a moment, and we are going to discuss the recently uncovered security features in both the Behike bands and the other lines of Cohiba. Okay? All right, guys. Welcome to the conclusion of the Cohiba Behike feature. And what the fuck are you guys looking at right now? Is this some kind of probing device? I don't know. Well, I'll tell you what it is. It is a fucking microscope. All right? What am I doing with the microscope, and why is there a cigar band under it? So, early this month, as I mentioned earlier in the video, the gentleman who maintains the Cuban cigar website posted to the Friends of Habanos forum in regards to a recently discovered feature in Cohiba bands. Okay, now this feature is present in all of the lines of Cohiba, but the feature varies. Okay, in the Linea Classica, Maduro line, and the Siglo line, the feature shows one type of text, and in the Behike line, it shows another. Okay, the Behike line began showing this feature when the bands were changed. It wasn't just the security hologram that was updated. They added a microprint, a true microprint, to the security hologram of the Behike lines. And I am not sure when the standard Cohiba band obtained this feature, but it is in the standard Cohiba line as well, and has been for quite some time. Okay, you see this bag of Cohiba bands here that I have pulled off of. There's one errant Monte Cristo band in there. I don't know how it got there. I don't know. Maybe it thinks it's a Cohiba band. It identifies itself as a Cohiba band. So who am I to question? This bag of Cohiba bands is from various Cohibas that I've smoked over the years. And just like my other cigar bands, which are sitting in a giant pillow-sized bag somewhere, these are just from Cohiba. And when I became aware of the security features, I kind of yanked my Cohiba bands from the bigger bag with mixed marcas, and I separated them, and this is how I came to the conclusions that I've come to with the various security features between information I've been able to get off the net, information that others have shared with me, and my own observations, okay? And this over here is the counterfeit band from Finest Cuban Cigars, and these are the counterfeits from Finest Cuban Cigars in this Ziploc, and I don't care about preserving them. Really, they're not worth preserving. But I do like to keep the band separate. And anyways, without segueing too much, without digressing too much, the gentleman from Cuban Cigar website posted several photos to the Friends of Habanos forum, and these photos contained very, very, very magnified images from various Cohiba bands, and the Cohiba bands, apparently, they've been there for years. In the top and bottom rocker, the holographic rockers that adorn and flank the top and bottom of the Cohiba bands on the Linea Classica Maduro line and the Sigla line, the Taino head holograms that are present in these gold rockers. Inside the Taino heads on the bands, you will see the word Cohiba in repeating text, okay? And this has been there for years, okay? And this shocked everybody. This has been there for years, and nobody even knew it was there. Even the guy from Cuban Cigar website, he was shocked just as much as anybody else. So I shared this information after reading this post. I shared the information with my buddy and fellow YouTuber Post Alone, and I sent him some photos from both the original post from the gentleman from Cuban Cigar website, whose name escapes me, my apologies, and my Samsung Galaxy Note 9 has a second camera lens that has up to 10 times zoom, and the 10 times magnification zoom was able to pick up just enough detail to see that there was text written on various bands from this bag here, but it wasn't powerful enough to actually read the text on the bands. So Post Alone and I were chatting, and we both checked out Amazon, and just for you guys, we both picked ourselves up digital microscopes. I paid about $40 USD for this off Amazon, and I wanted to see for myself in my own collection, and I was able to confirm that every vendor that I've discussed on this channel, I have checked out Cohiba bands from them, and the security text, the microprint, which you probably need at least 20 times magnification to be able to see them legibly, preferably more. As you guys can see, I'm showing shots in the corner over here of various bands and the images that I was able to capture. And Post Alone has his own batch of images that I'm sure he'll show in his videos. But I wanted to share this with you guys. And also, from the Behikes I just showed you, I was able to capture this image just to show you that the imagery is there on these bands as well. Okay, so these have all the security features that we want to see. And to answer, a couple of guys asked, because I was already asked about this feature by a couple of different people after I dropped the Humidor Scores Volume 3 last week. They were asking if I had heard about this new feature and everything, and they also asked if the Finest Cuban Cigar counterfeit bands had this feature, and the answer is no, they do not have the feature. Okay, so this is a feature that really nobody was aware of, it seems like. And it may also be a feature that maybe, when I sent the bands to Hank Noda from Bridge Dog Premium Printing a while back, maybe it's something that he checked out to see if the Finest Cuban Cigars band was authentic or not. I'm not sure what exactly his litmus tests were, but this is just another tool in the arsenal that you could put away in your repertoire if you have a cigar that you find questionable that maybe you got a while back. I don't want you guys to get confused, though. Don't confuse microscopes and black lights and all that shit and security tells. Don't confuse that for good judgment and reliable sources. Okay, that is the single most important thing, and I think you guys have realized this by now, thankfully. You guys know what's up. You guys are smart, and I am just showing this to you guys just to make you aware of the feature. I know some folks are like, oh, you shouldn't really be, putting this out there like that. Well, it's out there already. And the gentleman who discovered the features and brought them to us in the first place from Cuban Cigar website, he believes this information should be disseminated. So I am making you guys aware of it. And if you guys have bands or you have cigars that you are that you're doubting the authenticity, or cigars you got in a trade a while back, or even cigars that you bought from Finest Cuban Cigars a while back, I'm telling you right now that this Finest Cuban Cigars counterfeit Cohiba Robusto, that these don't have the text. Okay, I'll show you a picture right now. It's almost just like there's like little slits in the Taino logos instead of actual proper text, because this is at the same magnification that the legitimate example is, and you can clearly read the text on the legitimate example, but there's nothing there in the ways of text on the counterfeit bands. Okay, so I don't know if I don't know what's going on with what Finest Cuban Cigars is selling today, but this is just something that you can put in your back pocket. But anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's feature. And if you have any questions, let me know. And I'll always do my best to help you guys. Please like, share, follow, subscribe. You can contact me on Gmail, cigarsalute@gmail.com. Instagram direct message, cigar_salute. And I will see you guys soon. So stay well, smoke well, and be well, guys.